Imagine this: a tired man walks into a local diner in Colorado that he pays for coffee with coins he scooped from his glove box, but among those coins was a 1964 D. Lincoln Memorial penny. Not just any penny, this one would shake the foundations of the coin collecting world. At first glance, it looked ordinary. Worn edges, dull copper tone, just another penny, but buried in that little coin was a flaw. A secret. A minting mistake so rare, so mysterious, that even seasoned collectors would doubt it existed. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A young collector, barely 25, spotted it days later at a flea market that he was searching through a rusty coffee can of loose change, and something about the date, the texture, the weight, it didn't feel right. It felt heavier, crisper, like it didn't belong. But he had just found a penny worth over $1 million, because in 1964, the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies, but hidden within that massive run were a few pennies struck with a leftover 1963 die, and in some shocking cases, double dies. Some of these coins even show traces of the old wheat ears beneath the memorial design. A ghostly, accidental hybrid. Collectors were shocked. Historians were baffled. They went into a frenzy. But this wasn't just about minting errors. It was about timing point. 1964 was a year of transition. The US Mint was rushing to meet coin shortages, mistakes slipped through, and a few lucky pennies slipped into circulation. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. But what makes the 1964 D. Lincoln Memorial penny so rare is that almost no one knew to look. Most people spent them, lost them, dropped them on the street, and today only a tiny handful have ever been found. But here's the twist: the most valuable of these pennies, the one that cost $1.8 million at private auction, wasn't just rare. It was in near perfect condition. A pristine strike, flawless surface, and yes, that all-important D-Mint mark. Subtly misaligned. Dealers scrambled to verify it. Authenticators spent weeks comparing the font, the curve of Lincoln's jawline, the exact spacing of "In God We Trust." Everything matched, but it also didn't. This was a ghost penny. A transition error that should never have existed, and yet, here it was. A 1-cent piece, now worth a fortune. But the story gets even stranger. He'd kept it in a sock drawer for over a decade. He almost gave it to his nephew as part of a school project, until, one day, curiosity struck. He Googled the date, saw a forum post about 1964 D oddities, sent a photo to a local coin shop, and within 72 hours, that coin was on its way to a private auction house. The bids started small, $25,000, $60,000, then it jumped. One collector from Florida pushed the bid to $750,000. A museum archivist from the East Coast nearly doubled it. $1,800,000 for a penny that once sat in a sock drawer. But the story doesn't end there, because experts believe there are more out there, still hiding, still being spent, still waiting in change jars, in desk drawers, in dusty mason jars across America. And here's how to know if you're holding the $1 million version. Look for the 1964 date with the D Mint mark just beneath the year. That mark means it was struck in Denver. Then the clues begin. Check for slight doubling on the Liberty lettering, especially the B and the E. Under magnification, you might see a shadow image, signs of a double dyed. Examine Lincoln's eye and bow tie. Are they slightly blurry or layered? That could be your $1 million hint. The edges should be clean, but look for anomalies on the rim, sometimes caused by die breaks. Some of these rare pennies were struck on leftover planchets, coin blanks from other denominations. That means your penny might weigh more than usual, or ring differently when dropped. Collectors have missed these clues for decades, but now, you know the signs. This isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule from a chaotic year in US Mint history. A treasure born from haste and hidden in plain sight. Every single day, pennies like this are spent at vending machines, dropped into donation jars, thrown into fountains, and maybe, just maybe, the next one is already in your home, because right now, at this very moment, the 1964 D. Lincoln Memorial penny worth up to $1.8 million could be sitting in your drawer, and it only takes one lucky glance to change everything. A quiet man in California had a habit. He'd dump his pocket change into an old mason jar every night. For 30 years, it sat untouched, collecting dust on a forgotten shelf. One morning, out of sheer boredom, he decided to go through the coins. That's when he saw it. A 1971 Lincoln penny, with a tiny S below the date. He had no idea he was holding one of the rarest and most mysterious coins in US history. A coin so valuable, collectors have offered up to $1.9 million for a pristine example. A coin born from a hidden mistake, and a minting process shrouded in secrecy. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When he took that penny to a local coin show just to satisfy his curiosity, a dealer gasped. "Where did you get this?" the man asked, confused. The dealer's hands were trembling. This might be the one. The one they said didn't exist. The story of the 1971 penny is unlike anything you've ever heard, because this isn't just a rare coin, it's a minting mystery. A forgotten relic of a US mint experiment, gone completely off the rails. And most people are walking right past it. You see, in 1971, the US Mint in San Francisco was quietly phasing out proof-only production. But something strange happened that year. Among the millions of regular proof coins struck for collectors, a small handful of pennies were struck using proof dies, but somehow slipped into circulation. To the untrained eye, it looks like a regular penny. But to collectors who know what to look for? It's a game changer. Point 1 detail changes everything. This coin shows deep strike doubling, known in the coin world as double die obverse. On the 1971 penny, that doubling is most dramatic in the words liberty and in God we trust. The letters appear to shimmer, almost like a 3D illusion. But it's no illusion. It's a striking error, a rare one. It wasn't discovered until years later. By then, the mint had no record of how many were struck, or if they were meant to be released at all. The dealers are rushing to get their hands on it. Collectors are offering blank checks. Because fewer than a dozen flawless examples have ever been confirmed. And when one surfaced at auction, it shattered expectations, over $1.9 million. For a single penny. And yes, it came from someone's change jar, but the mystery runs even deeper. Some experts believe there may be a second variety, a shadow version, with subtle doubling that's even harder to detect. These stealth versions could be hiding in collections, in drawers, or even at the bottom of vending machine trays, and here's where it gets truly unbelievable. One man, a truck driver from Michigan, was sorting through a bankroll when he noticed something strange. A 1971 penny that looked off. Sharper than usual. He put it under a basic magnifier and nearly dropped it. That same doubling clear as day. He rushed it to a professional grader. Weeks later, he was holding the certification in his hands. MS65 red double die obverse. The coin was valued at over $800,000 on the spot, and yet, most people still don't know it exists. This isn't just a story about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. Because thousands of 1971 pennies are still out there. Sitting quietly in jars, drawers, and glove compartments. Overlooked. Misjudged. Forgotten. But what makes this coin so dangerous to ignore is how subtle the treasure can be. The 1971 double die obverse isn't a cartoonish error. The doubling is refined, precise. It takes a keen eye and a steady hand to catch it. But once you know the signs, you'll never unsee them, and now, so will you. Here's exactly what you need to know. First, look at the mint mark. The S below the 1971 date means it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, a major clue. Next, focus on the word liberty. The doubled letters will appear slightly raised, with shadows and ghosting on the edges, almost like a doubling of the entire inscription. Then look at I in God we trust. The doubling is most visible in God and trust. The letters may seem thicker or echo themselves faintly. Use a 10x magnifier. Even a smartphone camera in macro mode can help. And compare to a standard 1971 penny online to see the difference. Most counterfeiters ignore the subtle doubling, so if you spot one that looks too perfect, be cautious. Always verify with a third-party grader like PCGS or NGC. You'll feel it. That weight. That stillness. That sense that history has paused for a second and handed you a miracle, because this coin doesn't just tell a story, it changes one. A man in Ohio used his discovery to pay off medical debt. A woman in Florida found hers and gifted it to her grandson, and changed his life forever. One penny, worth over $1 million, and here's the most heart-pounding part, some experts believe there are still up to 50 of these coins in circulation. That's 50 chances. 50 moments waiting to be discovered. 50 lives that could be rewritten, forever, and they're hiding in the most ordinary places. At the bottom of your change jar, in the cup holder of your car, inside an old wallet passed down from your grandfather. The 1971 double die obverse penny is one of the greatest treasure hunts of our time. Quiet. Elusive. And absolutely real, and now, you know what to look for. In liberty and in God we trust. That's the trifecta. Miss it, and you might pass over a fortune, and you just found yourself holding a $1.9 million miracle. But weeks later, it stunned collectors at auction, selling for nearly $1 million, because what looked like an ordinary 1979 D. Lincoln Memorial cent was hiding a jaw-dropping secret. It wasn't a proof. It wasn't made of silver. It was something far rarer and far more valuable. And here's the most chilling part: millions of people have seen one and never realized it. So now, the question is, could one be hiding in your pocket right now? Back in 1979, the Denver Mint struck over 4.1 billion pennies, yes, billion with a B. Most were perfect, predictable, worth just 1 cent, but buried in that ocean of copper were a few very different coins with microscopic flaws, coins with mysterious doubling, coins that should have never left the mint, but somehow did, and one of them, a mistruck 1979 D. Lincoln cent, would end up being called the ghost error. Because for decades, collectors didn't even know it existed until one man spotted it, and that moment changed everything. He was sorting through change from a 7-Eleven store in Colorado, just an average guy, a lifelong penny hunter, and that day, he noticed something odd: a 1979 D penny where Lincoln's portrait looked off of the date, looked shadowed, almost duplicated, and the D mint mark? It was distorted, like it had been hit twice. He nearly dismissed it as damage, but something told him to look closer. He took out a magnifier, and what he saw next would make the coin world erupt. The coin had dramatic dye deterioration, creating what experts later dubbed a floating bust effect. Lincoln's face almost looked like a hologram, his collar was missing edges, and even the steps on the memorial were blurred into nothing. This wasn't post-mint damage, this was a legitimate mint error, and the details were so extreme, it was practically a ghost version of the penny. But here's the twist: this wasn't just one penny. More started to surface. Collectors began digging through rolls of 1979 D pennies, and some found nearly identical errors, but none were quite as dramatic as the original. The first one, the so-called $1 million ghost, was sent to auction. It was raw, unslabbed, uncertified, yet bidders flooded in because the coin wasn't just an error, it was a mystery, and in the coin world, mystery can mean money. A lot of money within minutes. The bids shattered expectations: $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, and when the final gavel struck, the room fell silent. One mistruck penny, pulled from gas station change, was now worth nearly $1 million, and to this day, experts still argue how it happened. Some say the dies were reused far beyond their lifespan, others believe a rogue mint worker deliberately tampered with the press, and a few whisper that it was an experimental strike, never meant to be seen by the public. This coin shattered the belief that post-1960 pennies were worthless, because it proved something vital: even a modern penny can change your life. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. After the auction, coin forums and Reddit exploded. "Check your 1979 DS," they said, "look for the floating bust. Don't throw away your change until you're sure." Collectors raced to banks, begging for penny rolls. Dealers began offering premiums for uncertified 1979 DS, and grading services reported a sudden flood of 1979 D Lincoln cents arriving in their mail, but few matched the quality of the original. Most had minor errors. Some were altered, only a small handful carried the same haunting detail, the ghost Lincoln look, and just one, was certified by PCGS as dye deterioration error, dramatic floating bust. Estimated value: $600,000 to $850,000, depending on market demand. But here's the part nobody talks about: there could still be more out there. Mint records from 1979 show that several presses at the Denver Mint had issues with collar dies, the very part responsible for sharp detail. If even one of those faulty presses ran longer than expected, there could be dozens, maybe hundreds, of ghost pennies in circulation, and most people would never know, because to the untrained eye, it looks like just another worn-out coin, another junk penny. But to a collector, it's a potential $1 million miracle. So now you're probably asking, the year must be 1979, with a clear D mint mark under the date. No other date qualifies. It must be Denver. Check Lincoln's portrait. In the error version, his jawline fades unnaturally, his collar may vanish entirely, and the cheek and forehead may appear doubled or ghosted, as if there's a second shadow of his face. Focus on the Lincoln Memorial steps. Are they clean? Sharp? Then it's normal. But if they're blurry, soft, almost erased, that's your next clue. Examine the D mint mark. Some versions of this error show a ghosted D, or even doubling, like a second D struck slightly off. If your coin has 3 or more of these features, you might be holding a legend. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't try to fix it, that could destroy its value instantly. Instead, place it in a soft holder, take clear photos, and reach out to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Or contact a reputable dealer and ask for an evaluation, because you don't want to be the person who finds a treasure and ruins it by mistake. Collectors were shocked by this coin. Dealers are still hunting for it, and those who laughed at modern pennies, they're not laughing anymore, because this little copper cent, once thought worthless, is now a symbol of hidden fortune, the kind of coin that turns pocket change into legacy, the kind of story that gets passed down for generations. This penny almost ended up lost forever, tucked between couch cushions, forgotten in an old shoebox, nearly thrown away with the trash. But when one collector took a second glance, his life changed forever. A single 1978 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark recently stunned the coin world by selling for over $1 million. Millions of people have handled this exact kind of penny and never realized what they were holding. The truth behind the 1978 no mint mark penny is a story full of accidents, secrets, and a mystery that's left even seasoned collectors shaking their heads. Because buried in everyday pocket change lies a potential jackpot, and most people walk right past it. But this isn't just a lucky coin, it's a treasure born from a rare combination of US mint history, unnoticed errors, and near-perfect preservation. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot one so you don't miss your chance at $1 million miracle. It all began in Philadelphia. The year was 1978. The Lincoln Memorial penny was already an American icon, first minted in 1959 to honor 150 years since Lincoln's birth. But this year, something went wrong. Or, very right, thousands of coins came off the presses missing a tiny detail that would become worth a fortune: the mint mark. Now here's what most people don't know: Philadelphia pennies aren't supposed to have a mint mark. So technically, a 1978 penny without one isn't rare at all, because in this case, the missing mint mark wasn't the whole story. One collector found a 1978 no mint mark penny that looked different. It shimmered in the light with a mirror-like finish. Razor-sharp details. A strike so crisp, it looked sculpted. He thought it was just a shiny penny. Until an expert saw it and gasped, "It was a proof-like coin." Somehow, a 1978 no mint mark penny had been struck with an unusually high pressure, using specially prepared dies, likely by mistake. The result? A business strike coin with the appearance of a proof. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the penny went up for auction, seasoned dealers expected it to sell for a few $1,000s, maybe $10,000, if the right bidder showed up, but the bidding didn't stop. Phone lines lit up. Collectors started flying in. And when the final gavel fell, the winning bid was just over $1.1 million. Yes, 1 cent turned into more than $1 million. And here's the shocking part: no one knows how many more of these ultra-rare 1978 no mint mark pennies are out there. Some experts believe there could be dozens, maybe hundreds. Others say only a handful ever existed, and the rest were destroyed. Dealers are scrambling to inspect every 1978 penny that crosses their table. Collectors are digging through old coin jars, searching for that magical shine, the razor edge, the invisible detail that makes all the difference, and all of it hinges on one critical mystery: how do you spot the $1 million version from the common pocket change? First, flip your 1978 penny over and examine the strike quality. A valuable version will show extreme clarity in Lincoln's hair, the lettering, and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. If it looks flat or blurry, it's probably not the one. But if it pops like it's been carved, don't stop there and next, check the fields. That's the flat space behind Lincoln and around the memorial. If those fields look like glass, a deep, smooth mirror-like reflection, you may be holding something extremely special. Then, inspect the color and luster. Most 1978 pennies are dull and brownish. But the ultra-rare one? It radiates a golden red brilliance, like it's still fresh from the mint. Check for die doubling. That means some parts of the design, like the word Liberty or the date, may appear slightly doubled. If that's present, even subtly, your coin's value could skyrocket. But there's one more clue, and most people overlook it. A standard 1978 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. But several known rarities, especially transitional error coins, were struck on the wrong metal planchets. That means your penny might be lighter, or heavier, than expected. Some of these rare off-metal strikes from the late 70s have sold for 5 or even 6 figures on weight anomaly alone. He didn't weigh his coin. He just had a gut feeling. He said, it looked too perfect. Like it didn't belong in a pocket. And that intuition paid off, to the tune of $1 million. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Rumors started circulating that another identical penny had surfaced, this time from a small-town thrift store in Kansas. A woman sorting through donated clothes found a penny stuck to an old receipt. She noticed it was shiny, and kept it. Later that year, she had it appraised. And the stunned expert told her, "You may want to sit down, but insiders believe it could break the last record. Because right now, at this very moment, one of the most valuable coins in US history might be hiding in a coin jar, or tucked inside an old wallet, or resting quietly at the bottom of your kitchen junk drawer." Collectors are shocked. Dealers are desperate to get their hands on more. And the demand is skyrocketing, but most people still think it's just a common penny. Don't make that mistake at first. Do not clean it. Even a tiny scratch can slash the value in half second. Store it in a soft plastic flip or airtight container and keep it somewhere cool and dry. Then, take high-resolution photos, both sides, clear lighting, and finally, contact a certified coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Request a full evaluation. If your coin has the right combination of strike, finish, weight, and luster, you may be looking at a life-changing payday. These coins aren't just collectibles. They're historical accidents. Beautiful, mysterious, million-dollar mistakes, and there's nothing more thrilling in the world of numismatics than finding one before the rest of the world catches on. So the next time you hear a penny drop, listen closely, because it might be more than just spare change. It might be destiny. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. But it turned out to be worth over $1 million. It has 1977 no mint mark, something most people ignore without a second glance. It sat quietly in a jar, forgotten for decades, until one day, a collector noticed a strange detail, a tiny imperfection that would rewrite everything we thought we knew about this coin. What he discovered sent shockwaves through the coin community. This wasn't just a regular 1977 penny. It was something far rarer. Something that never should have existed in the first place, and once the truth came out, collectors went into a frenzy. But what makes this ordinary-looking coin command such an extraordinary price? Why are experts now calling it one of the most mysterious and valuable pennies in US history? And how do you know if you have one sitting right now in your drawer, your car, or your coin jar? Let's unravel the mystery. Because this story is about more than just a coin, it's about the once-in-a lifetime chance to turn spare change into $1 million miracle. It begins back in 1977. The Lincoln Memorial penny was everywhere. Over 4.4 billion were struck that year, a staggering number, but buried deep within that sea of copper was something no one expected. A minting anomaly so rare, so precise, it seemed impossible, and it all started with one missing letter, the mint mark. In 1977, Philadelphia minted pennies didn't carry a mint mark. That part is normal. That's where the mystery deepens. A handful of these no mint mark coins were found with proof-like qualities, brilliant surfaces, razor-sharp details, and mirrored fields that never should have appeared on business strike coins. Some even showed faint doubling, others carried mysterious die breaks in identical places, and then came the shocker. One of these coins sold at auction for $1.20 million. Not because of who owned it, not because of some gimmick, but because of what it revealed, a hidden flaw in the minting process that should never have made it into public hands. Just a retired factory worker from Ohio. He wasn't a coin expert. He wasn't looking for treasure. He just liked saving odd-looking pennies, but when he brought it to a local dealer, everything changed. The dealer's hands trembled as he examined the coin under magnification. "This isn't just rare," he said. "This changes everything." And it did, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because more examples started surfacing, and they all shared a chillingly specific set of traits. First, the coin had ultra-sharp details on Lincoln's bust, finer than normal circulation strikes. Second, it had a slight doubling on the word liberty and the date, almost invisible unless you looked extremely close. Third, it had a bizarre, almost invisible die crack stretching across Lincoln's shoulder, like a lightning bolt. Frozen in time, some of them showed a faint ghost image of a mint mark that was never supposed to be there. Could it be that these were originally meant to be struck at another mint? But something went wrong. Some experts claimed these were experimental strikes, test coins that accidentally escaped the mint. Others believed they were the result of a secret error batch, quietly released into circulation. But no one knows for sure. It only fuels the frenzy. Dealers are now offering tens of thousands of dollars for even slightly unusual 1977 no mint mark pennies. Collectors are turning their coin jars upside down, and stories are pouring into stories of people finding these coins in old piggy banks, glove compartments, even gas station change trays. Because this isn't just a fluke, it's a nationwide treasure hunt. Most people who hold this coin have no idea what they've got. They spend it, drop it, or toss it in the laundry machine because it looks so ordinary until you know exactly what to look for. Here's what you need to check, and you'll need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe for this. First, look at the surface shine. Almost like a proof coin? That's the first clue, liberty and the date. Where the letters appear slightly doubled, shadowed, or thickened, that's a major red flag, and a valuable one. Now, check Lincoln's shoulder and chest area. This is where the tiny die crack might appear, often looking like a hairline fracture or lightning shape. Even a faint crack in the exact right place can boost the value exponentially. And finally, and this is crucial, tilt the coin under a light and examine the space below the date. Do you see the faint ghost of a mint mark, as if one had once been there, but vanished? That ghostly shadow has baffled experts. Some believe it's a trace from an over-polished die, others think it's a remnant of a cancelled batch meant for Denver or San Francisco. Either way, it's $1 million detail, and it could be hiding in plain sight. But here's the warning most people miss: there are fakes out there. Coins altered by hand, coated with strange finishes, or artificially polished to look rare. These have zero value and can trick even some amateur collectors. That's why you must verify everything. If you think you found a match, take it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate and grade the coin, and that grading can make all the difference between a $10 oddity and a $1 million discovery. And there's one last detail, and it's the one most people overlook: the weight. The original 1977 pennies were made of 95% copper and should weigh about 3.11 grams, but some of these mystery coins weigh slightly less, closer to 2.5 grams, as if they were struck on the wrong planchet. A foreign planchet. A test strike. A one-of-a-kind mint mistake. No one knows for sure, but that weight difference could be the key to unlocking its true value. Collectors are still searching, still hoping, still dreaming, because in the world of coins, it's not just about age, it's about accidents. It's about the unexplainable, the mysterious, the impossible coin that somehow made it into your hands. And for one lucky man in Ohio, it turned an afternoon of coin searching into a life-changing payday. Now it's your turn. Check your jars, your drawers, your pockets. That ordinary-looking penny could be hiding one extraordinary truth. It was dull, brown, barely noticeable, just another forgotten cent in the palm of an elderly man who'd saved it since 1965. But what he didn't know, what no one around him knew, was that this little coin held a secret. A secret so rare, so explosive, it would later stun professional collectors and spark a wild bidding war that climbed to over $1.3 million. And here's the truly chilling part: you might be holding the exact same coin in your hand right now, because this isn't a story about gold or silver. It's not about ancient Roman artifacts buried in the sands of time. No. This is about something far more shocking: a modern penny. A U.S. Lincoln Memorial penny from 1965, with no mint mark, just one small detail, and this coin's value explodes from 1 cent to over $1 million. But before we show you exactly how to spot one of these, you need to know why this specific year, this coin, and this tiny minting quirk, makes it one of the rarest discoveries in American numismatic history. Because in 1965, something strange happened at the U.S. Mint. The country was in chaos. Silver coin shortages were sweeping across America. People were hoarding coins. Everyday pocket change became scarce. And in a desperate move to fight the shortage, the mint made a radical decision: they eliminated all mint marks from coins. For the first time since the early 1900s, the mint deliberately removed the tiny letter that told collectors where a coin was made: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco. Gone. All pennies, dimes, and quarters from 1965, 1966, and 1967 were struck without mint marks, in an effort to discourage hoarding. But what happened next stunned the coin world, because while most 1965 pennies were made in Philadelphia, a small, almost undetectable number were accidentally struck on older, leftover silver planchets. Planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins, and those few mysterious errors are now worth over $1 million. Yes, million. With an M. Collectors were shocked when the first one surfaced at auction. It looked like a regular penny, but it was far lighter than it should have been. And under a microscope, experts saw something chilling: the coin wasn't copper at all. It was struck on a dime. An accidental hybrid, born from chaos at the mint, and only a handful were ever found. One man discovered his rare 1965 error penny while sorting through an old mason jar in his attic. He thought it felt off in his hand, too light, too silvery. He brought it to a dealer just to be safe. That coin would later sell for nearly $1.3 million. And here's the kicker: it was hiding in that jar for over 50 years. But that wasn't the only mystery. Some 1965 Lincoln pennies also show unusual double die errors, with Lincoln's profile appearing ever so slightly doubled, a ghostly echo of the strike. Others have off-center impressions, clipped planchets, or bizarre wrong metal combinations that defy logic, every one of these errors multiplies the value dramatically. Check the weight. A standard 1965 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, copper alloy. But the rare error pennies struck on dime planchets weigh just 2.5 grams. That tiny difference? It's worth over $1 million. Look at the color. If your penny appears silver, grayish, or lighter than normal, that's a massive red flag. Most 1965 pennies are a deep copper or brown. But silver-toned ones? Those are not normal. Examine the strike. Many error coins show signs of weak detail, off-centering, or ghost images, especially around the words Liberty and the date 1965. But most people miss the next clue entirely. Some of the rarest 1965 no-mint mark pennies were never meant to enter circulation at all. They were test strikes. Experimental coins. And a few somehow escaped the mint and ended up in the real world, in jars, drawers, even payphones. One coin was found inside a church donation box, another discovered by a 14-year-old boy counting change for a school fundraiser. Those coins later stunned experts, and the bidding went wild. One sold for $940,000. Another broke the $1 million mark, but what's more incredible is how many people missed the signs. Millions of 1965 pennies exist. But only a few carry this hidden treasure trait. And while others toss them aside, the wise collector sees something more, because sometimes, it's not about what you see. It's about what you feel, that strange metallic sound when it hits the counter. That flash of silver in a sea of copper. That gut feeling that something's off, and sometimes, the feeling leads to $1 million. The answer lies in U.S. coin law. Technically, error coins that escape the mint into circulation become legal to own and trade. That means if you find one, it's yours. No recall. No government claim. Just you, and the open market. And in recent years, the market has exploded. Dealers are desperate to get their hands on 1965 off-metal errors. Auctions are climbing. TikTok videos are going viral. Facebook coin groups are lit up with stories of shocking finds, because the more people look, the more discoveries are being made. One woman in Ohio found hers in a plastic jar labeled vacation fund. Another man found one wedged between couch cushions while cleaning out his late father's house. Both coins, over 6 figures, and both were nearly thrown away. But what happened next changed their lives forever. Use a jeweler's scale. Weigh every 1965 penny you find. If it weighs 2.5 grams or less, do not spend it. Get it appraised immediately. Use a magnet. While it shouldn't stick, these errors are not steel. Any unusual magnetic reaction can signal a non-standard metal composition. But trust your instincts. Anything that looks silver, gray, thinner, or off-strike could be the hidden gem. Condition matters. The highest auction prices come from coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition. That means no major scratches, no heavy wear, and clear detail. Some 1965 pennies with no mint mark may actually hide double errors. A silver planchet and a doubled die strike. These are the holy grail, and only a few have ever surfaced. One such coin recently received an MS-66 grade, near mint perfection, and sold in a private auction for $1.32 million. A single penny, tossed around for decades, becomes a life-changing miracle. Go through your jars, your drawers, your old wallets. Look through inherited change. Pay close attention to every 1965 penny, especially those that feel too light or look too silvery.